blue side as well. So you guys know, if you missed the end of last week, Xayah Rakan is now a flex duo. They can be played in the bot lane, obviously the most famous place for them, but as a mid-jungle, if you will, kind of role where the jungler takes the exhaust, you know, like you see Jankos doing every game on the Braum. Braum is replaced by Rakan. You get the extra engage range and also safety of the battle dance, so you will see her banned. The Taliyah is also a funnel ban because we saw SKT in that same comp. They just wanted to run Taliyah in the bot lane because she has shove and even burst potential on a lot of standard marksman and support duos. So far, 2 funnel bans. You wonder if they just ban Braum as well. That's another funnel champion you could consider banning away.
Hey, they were thinking about it the last time they banned the Galio, and it's the same 3 bans here from KT. Once again, doesn't matter what side they're on, they just don't want to see those 3 champions.
What SKT diagnosed the final champion to ban. Ezreal Tahm Kench is banned against those teams quite frequently. Plus the Genji special is the blue side Ezreal Tahm Kench duo. They're going to ban Rumble again. That just tells me that Tal isn't comfortable playing against it. I know it was buffed on this patch, but surprising to see the Rumble ban. It does mean Zoe is open. The Nocturne banned away by SKT is one of the best compositional answers. The Galio, the best mid lane champion we've seen against it. So Faker is going to have to find something different.
Yeah, you can see the damage percentage, 32% from Yukali. 2-1 on the pick, has shown that he is quite good at the Zoe alongside other sides. And by the way, guys, Effort's still in the lineup, and he might be playing Morgana again.
Now, level 1 can't get worse for us, so at least that exists. So he's going to want to avoid the level 1. Blank had kind of no presence, then some good team fighting coming through from the Sejuani, but man, Ezreal Tahm Kench would be quite the draft on blue side.
It's too obvious.
It's going to happen again.
It's way too obvious. I'm already pointing at it before we get there, and it's just going to be picked up once again, shoveled up here by KT. Will we have Faker on the Yasuo? Looks like we will, guys.
We'll have a Yasuo, and given some of the changes, it does feel like marksmen are once again the way to go in the bot lane. But the Yasuo pick does come in, probably against the Zoe. That could have some big outplays. It'll be fun to watch, but we don't expect too much presence from the jungle in the early game. Maybe that will hurt the Yasuo who wants to overextend. I like the ban here of the Kindred. They couldn't deal with it in game number 1. It created too many no-go zones and even hurt some of the assassination into the back lines. So smart ban away. See what Score's backup is against the Sejuani, because you can kind of take both tacts of going very aggressive and also very passive when you face the Sejuani.
See what Score wants to return to here. The Camille still left available, but haven't seen it yet on the new patch. Ornn going to be taken away, this time by the side of KT. They don't want to just give it first rotation here after the second ban phase.
Safe Ornn pick would also mean reliable initiation for the Yasuo, so it makes sense to ban that one away. Mundo and Aatrox are both available thus far, and maybe that'll end up being the matchup, given that Tal has been defaulting to Aatrox like a lot of our top laners. Final ban here from KT. Could be another top laner if they so choose. Doesn't seem like they're worried about facing the Varus again. You can understand that, and it will be the Mundo.
Yeah.
So now they're kind of saying, what about the Aatrox? And Aatrox versus Malphite might actually end up being the matchup, because otherwise, good picks into Aatrox outside of some new stuff have not been revealed in the LCK.
Yeah, I was thinking about, maybe you ban the Aatrox, try to scoop up the Mundo alongside the poke comp you have going for KT, but look at this, Pyke going to be picked up here. I think the spectator bug is fixed on 812, not sure about that.
I don't believe it's fixed, and also, where is Pyke going? Is Pyke top lane, like has been played in Korean solo queue by Marknoon? Because we got a Morgana here as well, so there's a lot to think about now. It could also be a Pyke Yasuo duo lane, but that would mean Morgana in a solo lane.
How about Pyke Morgana in the bot lane? Pyke 80 carry, I've seen that before.
It could happen, sure. Casey are just like, I'm not sure, let's just play Aatrox.
Let's get that really good champion who's right now 12-7 in LCK.
Renekton is up as an answer to the Aatrox. We'll see if that's going to be the visit. It will be Camille coming through from Score. They're saying they want to pack this one up early. Pretty similar comp to what they were running the previous game when it comes to early game onus, but what's going on in SKT? Apparently, a whole load of bruisers.
Yeah, that would leave basically the Morgana and the Pyke to do the initiation.
This would be Morgana mid lane, you'd have to think, and from there, the Darius top lane. We'll wait and see. There is a lot of flexibility about a comp like this.
Okay, we're still waiting for more swaps. Let's see how it goes.
I guess you could also run the Yasuo and have Bang on carry Morgana, as in just farming, but doesn't scale with gold particularly well. Is it a replacement for the Lulu, just for CC immunity on Darius and Yasuo? I guess you could do that.
Yeah, definitely helps out against the Zoe in particular. Yeah, I mean, they got 7 seconds left. They could always swap it once again, but it might just be Bang on the Morgana. He's played a couple of games of Lulu. They were losses, but that's going to do it. He will be on the Morgana.
It's also not a good laning phase into the Ezreal because Black Shield provides almost nothing against Ezreal's poke harass. Very, very interesting decision here. Effort on the Pyke is hyped because on a Playmaker, we can see if Effort's young man mechanics can work. They will have Faker's Yasuo. We're excited for that. The Darius, good matchup into the Aatrox, especially early. But early, can they minimize Scorer's impact? He's now on the Camille, but Camille next to Kindred. Still about the early game for the side of KT.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people look at this draft and they're very confused, but we said it at the beginning of the day, SKT, they should bring in weird stuff, and especially after losing game number 1. They come into game 2, they bring in a really strange composition. Feels like they're almost living in the past, you know, trying new compositions without 80 carries, but I'm willing to take a back seat and say, let's see what this could actually do.
Now, pushing against Ezreal should work, but that was their game 1 plan, and they messed it up heavily at level 1. They need to clean up the lane, and they're cleaning it up on 2 first-time picks for them, and that could also be either very good or very bad, you'd imagine. Effort retains his spot despite really struggling in game number 1.
So, guys, we are going to have a bit of a pause. Right now, the camera lies on Bang, but not exactly sure what's going to happen, but let's make sure. I hope there were no problems like draft issue or something like that.
I mean, there still could be a draft issue in hindsight, obviously, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they selected what they want, and it sounds like a bit of headset checking and things like that in the SKT booth, so it seems like it's only going to be momentary. Hopefully the howling is not going to be persistent.
Yeah. Faker's like, can I play without a headset? I don't want to listen to my teammates anymore. I can just go solo Yasuo down the mid lane and win, right?
You got to be careful, Valdez. Those SKT fans, they're going to be mad. Be nicer. Be nicer.
I'm sorry. Hey, I mean, I was complimenting Faker. He's a good Yasuo player.
And a good solo rank player.
Yeah.
It's true. Now, if it's going to be a farmed up Morgana, should be a lot of AP, should be a big shield. If his Yasuo starts popping, could mean that it pops super hard. But all we can say is a bit of innovation. They tried pushing with standard champions, it didn't work. Now it's Morgana Pyke, a hodgepodge duo if there ever was one. Can they just push into Ezreal Tahm Kench, by far the standard 80 carry support duo that we've seen in summer 2018?
Tal's going to go ahead and change his headset, so we might have 1 or 2 minutes left over and see if we can get into the game after the new headset does arrive. No chair issue, no toilet issue, no draft issue yet. We need to wait and see until the game starts for that one.
And no scheduling issue, of course, guys. Join us for our second match of the day. Scheduled to start at 8 p.m. Could be later if we go to game number 3. We do have first versus second. Kingzone Dragon X are back-to-back champions against Blackjack Griffin, as Griffin currently 21-0 in Best of Series in 2018. So a super hype second match. This one could still get super hype. If SKT do win with this, literally there's 140 plus champions that could go anywhere. The musical chairs would continue if they win a game with Morgana carry. But
you were talking a lot about the 8-12 and how there should be a lot more range champions coming in, the 80 carries coming back with the removal of the banner. But you look at SKT's comp, their only siege is really Morgana. If you can land the binding, I suppose you can jump in with everybody. They do have a nice amount of CC on pretty much every champion. So we'll see if they can actually make that work, whereas KT running the much more standard composition. Let's jump into game number 2 and see which one prevails.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Here we go, guys. Game number 2, SKT versus KT.
I just noticed this Exiled Morgana actually has pretty similar colors to the SK Telecom T1.
Yeah.
Crest, I guess you would say, a logo. That's something, again, complete aside, but just noticed it. This is zoomed in on the Morgana. Not going to be in support this time. Effort gets a reprieve. No more Morgana for you. How about a Pyke?
Yeah. Definitely the colors of SKT can be a little bit vague at times. It's kind of like an orangey red / gold mixed in. I wasn't sure exactly what I would have to dye my hair had I lost my first bet, but we would have figured it out. Maybe a blend of all three. SKT, though, looking to get a big win up against a team that has proved themselves here in summer. Let's see if their hodgepodge composition can do it this time.
Looking at the rune choices for the Morgana. Kind of a mana flow band. Celerity, that's pretty standard, but the Scorch for a bit more laning trading. You would imagine if it was in the carry role, it would be Gathering Storm, just for the ability power if the game goes longer, but the value of Gathering Storm in this meta is questionable. Look at this, Ezreal's actually going Scorch, so it's all about the laning phase for both of these carries. A no Gathering Storm game, how quaint.
I guess it makes sense for Deft Mata. They always want to be in your face, especially against this. Morgana doesn't have much range. You know, she's not going to be trading effectively with the Ezreal, especially at level 1.
425 range, I believe. The Pyke level 1 is hook or nothing, so yes, they definitely have to cede level 1 control. We'll wait to see if they just put 5 points into the W and Tormented Soil and try to AFK the laning phase and push and remove themselves, or push and roam. Possibility. But our first time seeing Bang on the Morgana. The Lulu, that one we grew to understand. The Morgana, not so sure about.
I mean, you were talking about big shields. Maybe if she can stack the AP with all of this farm, she'll get in the bottom side. She might be able to help out with that.
Worth noting that all the other shield champions were nerfed on this patch. Lulu Janna, most obviously. The Karma and the Orianna as well. Orianna mid lane already wasn't a thing, unless you're on the LPL, but who knows? Maybe it will come back down the line. The Morgana, you know, is basically the same champion. Obviously, the shield is a different mechanic. We'll have to evaluate this lane over time because, you know, first professional game, I'm going to say, of Morgana Pyke duo.
Yeah, it's looking like it. No vision in the bottom side, and they're trying to push. Bang actually getting really close to score here, looking for the engagement. Flash on in is perfect, but the nice stun from the Pyke. Deft pushing forward to get the hook here on Tomato with the slow, which means 2 tower hits, but for Bang and Effort, they get away with no Summoner's Burn.
I mean, actually a mistake from Score. It's very hyphy. He makes a big play, gets the CC, but the follow-up was always going to be unreliable. Seeing a roam here, Smeb is actually mid lane after pushing up the Darius, but Baker very smart and where he stands in the lane. Don't really know how you're going to kill someone that close to the enemy turret, and Pyke was level 2, and you expect QE to be the skill order there.
I mean, you're a Camille, you're level 3 with double buff, and you're up against a lane that if you can get some CC down, maybe you feel like Mata can recreate his Tom Kench, you know, triple hit, but I mean, they didn't even need flash. Definitely not what he was looking for. Maybe Score getting a little bit excited. We've seen this from KT from time to time. When they get ahead and they get overexcited, they get overconfident. You know how it is, guys.
You said excited twice in one sentence. I know what you're doing over there, Valdez. Again, some cause for excitement against Gen G, and now the bot lane. You kind of thought about it, and you were like, I don't really see how Morgana Pyke can win trades. They can't. They need to hit one CC and then chain it into another one. And hope the Devourer is down.
That's a lot of things that you need to wait for, Papa. That you're just putting in all the. Oh wow, that was really loud.
No. Did you bring the aspirin? Did you bring the Panadol? Did you bring the painkillers, Valdez?
I bought my earplugs, so there's that. Hopefully that'll help out.
Maybe 8-13. Maybe 8-13 is where we hit the heaven. Because I really want to be excited for Pyke games, but I know about that.
Once you know about that, it's kind of like the excitement just drifts away. You mentioned how KT, the roller coaster, what the team was named after. They just went on the high highs of defeating Gen G. We were expecting maybe a bit of a drop coming into SKT, but so far, not able to drop down.
Faker just set up a freeze, if you guys are wondering. So we actually held the camera on him as he set up a freeze. That's always cool to see. And if you're a melee champion, that's the gold standard of an Aurelia lane. For Yasuo, also a fantastic place to have your lane. Little tutorial there. Watching effort, comes down, clears control ward. That's a manly control ward. The enemy blue side control ward in that particular entrance to the bot side. Mid lane.
Oh, here we go, trying to engage here onto Yukal. The wind wall comes down, doesn't block the bubble, but it misses anyway. Faker just trying to fight a little bit. Motto was right there. Now here's the re-engage. Blank just trying to get in the face just a bit. Efforts nearby as well. 3v3 setup in the mid lane.
And I want you guys to appreciate the multi-part plan from SKT. That was a drill. That's what happens when, okay, Faker knows he can freeze the wave. He says, I've got the preferential spot. I have enough space with the enemy mid laner gone. I'm going to freeze the wave. I've hit level 6. Come now at this timing. That's why you see effort roam up. That's why Sejuani was jungling in the area. Those are the standard plays that are definitely drilled into top teams. It doesn't lead to a kill, but it's a nice illustration of kind of multi-step processes rather than just, oh, I looked at the mini-map, he's overextended, I'm going to get him.
Yeah. Generally like to see those drills and scrims, but I'm glad you do point it out here that it happens in the game. It's kind of foreshadowing for what's going to happen.
And just for viewers who want to appreciate the nuance of how far in advance things are prepped and why a jungler is where he needs to be, because he knows where he needs to be in 30 seconds, in 1 minute. So just a small point there that some people will find interesting. Faker himself having a happy time in the lane. He's provoked very defensive itemization out of Yukal, just going for Seeker's Arm Guard first.
Yeah. Yukal not bringing exhaust or any of that beta stuff. He's bringing the ignite into the lane.
Yeah.
Just saying, I'm going to outplay you, Faker. See if it happens. Faker a little bit more respectful in terms of his summoner choice. Picks up the cleanse here up against the Zoe. I feel like pretty much every champ should be picking that up against Zoe and Camille. Anything from the jungle that does have a stun, generally want to bring up that summoner.
I think the fact that you mentioned is the twofer though, I think if it was a no CC jungler like a Kindred, I think you don't go into the cleanse, but cleanse makes the most sense against double CC. If it was just one CC like the Trouble Bubble, you win wall and ignite them and they die, so that's the difference there. Stopwatches are online, and stopwatches have been a big thing on this patch. Only one on the side of KT, but we do see both the bot laners, both of them playmakers and with ways to disengage, going for the stopwatch as well. Here's to hoping we see some hyphy plays.
I've been liking stopwatch a lot. Feels really good, just in this early game kind of meta you have going on. If you can avoid a kill and stop the snowball early, it feels very nice. Speaking of early, SKT moving over to the Drake here, trying to steal it, but nicely done with the wind wall in perfect position. Means that SKT does pick up that Infernal Drake.
Definitely well coordinated by SKT. This is the second back timing from Def, so didn't have teleport this time up. Knew he couldn't be there, so they rush it down. Clean stuff from SKT. Didn't get any Drakes in the first game, so nice to pick up their first. And for it to be an Infernal to boot, as Effort's not spotted.
Trying to get that stun on the score, who wasn't looking, and there's the ultimate coming in from Sejuani, flipped over the back, and first blood is alley-ooped to Faker in the mid lane.
And Score is caught shopping Valdez. He thinks he can hookshot at the end, but of course the Pyke is standing on top of his model, so instantly interrupts and should have flashed first. Didn't think it through, did Score. SKT find the first blood and find a nice lead over KT.
Now, finally, it's not Faker. He was the one on top of him, not caught shopping, so nicely done. That's a really nice skill to pick up for your mid lane Yasuo.
And the Pyke is smart. Notice he stays on top of the model, so instant stun onto Effort rather than the ability to hookshot over the wall. Well played, SKT.
I did like that flip animation straight into the Yasuo, who says, thank you very much. This is pro play, guys. It's not solo queue where your Pyke tries really, really hard to steal the kill even before level 6. Seen that happen a bunch.
All right, Tal has a good laning matchup here, remember? Ooh. So running at Smeb can't go badly.
He's going. Okay, the flash ult into a flash response from Smeb. Let's see if Tal gets over-aggressive here. We got Score hanging around.
Smeb didn't use his passive in that play either. Here we go.
Do have the ultimate here, X-Tech ultimatum, and no ultimate onto Tal. The knockup comes in, and he has gone too far down the lane. Bit of a mistake, and Score and Smeb able to pick up that kill.
And the reason why I think it should be called a mistake is not just hindsight, lol, KT got the kill, SKT didn't. A trade of flashes against an Aatrox is a loss for the side of Darius because Aatrox has an escape that Darius doesn't. There was never a chance he was going to get the kill in the 1v1 with the enemy flash being up, and it wasn't even full stacks, I believe, of the ultimate. So I think Tal misplayed the lane trade. Of course, it looks much worse because KT got the kill afterwards, but good decision-making from KT. Bit of an iffy one from Tal.
Yeah, maybe getting a little bit antsy, you know. He gets a good engage into the Aatrox, and he feels this is my moment to come up and shut down the Aatrox before he gets going, but that certainly was not the moment, as we did see. And now look at this. We have our Tom Kench, level 6 Mata, hanging around there, and look at the top lane. They want a follow-up kill here onto Tal.
Score has flash. He can go for that play that didn't work bot side. Smeb not revealing that Score is here, but all Score is doing is leeching at this point. Killing a no-flash Darius. We've all done this in solo queue.
Trying to bait him in, but it's a little bit awkward now as Tal is coming over to this control ward, and we have actually Blank in the river. Trying to engage now, but this is a huge distance. Bang trying to go in there. This blows ult, but oh, they're trying to go onto Tal here with the Abyssal Voyage. Nice knock up there, but it's not enough. Tal is going to get bopped down once again. No flash for him to get out of that play.
The Apprehend being buffered early led to a really weird interaction that almost gave him the ability to get out, but once again they pile onto the Darius. Again, we spoke about previously, I didn't like the play because of the trade of flashes. Again, no flash Darius, one of the easiest champions to take down on Rift. Darius goes down a second time. Aatrox builds up an item lead, and I think Darius always wins this lane to a point. That point is coming earlier and earlier with every death.
You can see how this does come down. Blanket's hanging around, but they don't see the Tom Kents from the mid lane with the help of Zoe even. Funny interaction with the Apprehend, but 4-on-1, you're not going to win without your flash. Smite comes in, Score is able to get it, but he's pulled in and knocked up and down he does go. Nice extra damage coming in there from Faker, and now they want to engage. Faker with that black shield is going to get a second double knockup, but where's the follow-up? Effort doesn't have enough damage. Now Yasuo's going to go down, the stopwatch to block the Pike ult, and that is a 3-for-1. Faker perhaps this time around getting a little bit too aggressive.
If not Faker, who will it be? Darius isn't there, and Morgana doesn't do damage. In those scenarios, you can see Tormented Soil is the max. Moment the Yasuo goes down, everyone else just walks away and disengages. It gets Faker a nice item timing, but another big lead, and Smeb has been everywhere on this Aatrox.
I mean, I don't even think Bang was able to get there in time. It was just coming up. They do get the kill.
On the X as well, so it's actually kill goal to Faker and Sejuani. Ideal for SKT. But then Smeb walks up, doesn't have to use anything, and thank you very much. 3-man knockup.
Stopwatch from Bang. You talked about no damage. He didn't have his ultimate available, so he wasn't able to use that, but he was out of the fight entirely because of a bit of a fat finger there.
Thank you for spying that one, but that was even more less damage than a Morgana should do. That was a bit Deft-esque on his famous teleport in the team fight Jace game.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just little things like that, you know?
No, that was a big thing.
Well, it's just big things like that.
Thank you.
Know?
Thank you.
Sometimes I like to mince my words. Papa Smithy keeps me honest.
Well, I mean, he did just Zonius for a pose when his team could need some damage. Well,
but honestly, I mean, he would have had the combination of the Binding and the Tormented Soul, but would that even have been enough is the question. You were talking about how he doesn't really have any damage. He also, even now, doesn't have any damage.
They still lose the trade, but now he can't even Rambo ultimate with his stasis because he doesn't have the stasis anymore. So costly, we'll say, the side of SKT. Not enough to decide the game. The gold lead not massive. Looking at the last fight, he still did 982 damage, so that's pretty cool.
He was doing something in there. Had a nice bit of damage onto the Camille, who got a little bit too far forward.
Problem is that the bot lane is where they found their first advantage, and now they cede bot lane control from losing that fight so one-sidedly. So the Infernal that could have been 2 to SKT is actually an answering one. Tal stayed top side. Doesn't have Sheen, so can't burst the turret down just yet. Deft has worked in a Vamp Scepter into his build. That's what you usually see against both Bruisers and any sort of Wizard bot lane, is going for a Vamp Scepter, trying to stay through the lane.
Big move up towards the Rift Herald already, but you can see the pings, question mark pings, coming in from Score and UCal saying, hey, these guys might be starting it. Trying to engage, though, onto the Aatrox on the top side. Will just Dark Flight over the wall. That is going to push him out of the fight. And it is 4-on-3. The TP, though, coming on in. It's not going to be stolen. Blank should be able to get this one and get out, but not able to get out in time. Actually bringing the Camille over the wall. Can he survive? No, he cannot. In the end, now they're trying to get out to Score here, but a fantastic Devour there. Faker is going to live. The passive is procced here onto the Aatrox, and KT will get away with just one kill. But the Rift Herald does go to SKT.
And miscommunication from both sides. Getting the Rift Herald is worth it for the side of SKT for just one death. Where the game was at, they know they want to rotate around. They see the potential for the shutdown onto the Yasuo being the shutdown onto their team, given that Tal is already in a pretty precarious position when it comes to being online this game. Do get the Rift Herald. We're going to watch the replay. The combo is used instantly, and Smeb can awkwardly just go over. So you wonder perhaps whether that wasn't the time to use the last breath. It's not there for a team fight. I think the actual contestants surprised SKT. They thought they were getting a free objective. Like whiffs on the ultimate, get the single kill, and no further ones come out as Mata flashes in just to get close enough to give Score a way out.
Yeah. I think Blink, maybe you want to go for the flash first before the Arctic Assault to get over the wall. I think in that case, maybe the Camille doesn't bind onto you, but it's a very, very close play, and I don't blame him for what he did there, but again, Rift Herald for the one kill. Let's see if they can pick up another one. Gonna miss the pike stun, but it might not matter here as Mata has 4 members of SKT on top of him. Gonna be a free pickup for them.
Staying as a team, using the Morgana to buff and to also get picks, get this turret as well. They still have the Rift Herald, so we'll wait and see where SKT want to use it. Do notice that Darius, as an answer, has to evacuate bot side, but because it's 4 members top, it might be 2 turrets KT. Seems like the answer will be no, because Yukal just kind of queries his safety in pushing.
And I like that they don't use the Rift Herald there. It's better to save it for this mid turret that has a lot more health rather than the tiny amount of health that was in the mid lane, or rather the top lane. Faker gets first blood turret gold all to himself in the top side, and now they can push as a team in the mid. Let's see how KT responds to this. Abyssal Voyage coming in. And with 4 members of SKT here, but they're not going to commit in onto the turret. So just that one charge for the turret.
Enough backup. As we saw, Mata has been everywhere with the Abyssal Voyage this game. They back away. KT is stronger when they are grouped, and also in 1v1s they have more power, especially the Aatrox over the Darius. Mid lane, remember SKT has an insane amount of pick. The most pick you could ever ask for, and multiple ways to open up with the Yasuo. So Yasuo having a CS lead and also 3 kills means the Yasuo is a huge factor. And as a counterpoint to the Yasuo, Yukal has gone, I don't want to die itemization, not Ludens, not even any mana sustain early. So it's a pretty underpowered Yukal versus a pretty hyperpowered Faker.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wait a long time, actually, for the Zoe to really get online. She's not going to be one-shotting anybody for quite a bit here. And, well, they have immense amount of pick. But on the side of KT, they don't have the Kindred this time, but they were still able to net themselves the Tahm Kench for Mata. A couple of our top teams, specifically Genji and KT, have been putting so much priority onto that Tahm Kench pick, and so far it's been working out.
Funneling this series so far, if you're joining us late, KT got this mid lane turret down earlier. We'll be able to clean it up. Okay.
Oh, trying to dodge on a Tal, and there's just nowhere for him to go. Nope. Way too much damage. 2-on-1 there.
A really good piggyback there. They have the guarantee that Darius won't get out, so they take him out. They can't get the turret from it, they'll disengage. His effort lets us know that he pressed W.
Thanks, effort. Was curious, I wasn't sure.
Trust me, the clarification will always be there. Again, good news story for SKT. This comp is get Faker a pentakill comp. Faker has exhaust. Faker has got enough kills and gold to go for the very expensive itemization, the Infinity Edge second. We've seen a lot of sad mid lane Yasuos go Sterix, and Sterix been changed. Infinity Edge, 100 gold cheaper, so maybe going to be coming in early enough. We're going to watch the replay. This is definitely one you could have inferred because they run at Tal, and assuming that Aatrox pulls turret aggro, it's always going to be a kill.
Make it easy for the dunk there for Score. Next like ultimatum, and look at this. 20-minute Baron, and so far KT do not know.
Don't do it that fast, but they do it pretty safely as we're watching. Faker says, not going to be able to do this fast enough. They'll check eventually when a control ward went down. I like the idea, though. even information they tried the Baron isn't there for KT, so at least it's not the sort of thing where KT will instantly be warding it for the rest of the game. There might still be a grace period and a return to the Baron.
We finally have our Morgana on the bottom side, beginning to get some items, the Ludens, as well as the follow-up of the Zhonyas, which seems quite obvious. But once she gets that 2-item spike, they can definitely have at least their, their bottom side carry commit very heavily to the fights once and over again.
And can they find a way to shut down the other 2-item spike, the famous Ezreal at Trinity Force Muramana? To me, that part is the more important thing. Can 2-item Faker, which of course is a huge point of power, having 100% crit, 120% crit, with the Infinity Edge and the Phantom Dancer actually answer the more reliable Ezreal poking and getting value in sieges? That's what remains to be seen. We'll get the damage dealt, and you can see that Morgana definitely does chip damage a lot.
She W's things. She torments a lot of laners. It's annoying, but is it effective? Not really. Trying to get an effective Cloud Drake here on the bottom side, but that means that KT is trying to commit onto Faker here, who is going 1v2 and has no help. Trying to actually knock down Score, but a fantastic devour there from Mata means that his life is saved and Faker even gets out himself.
Camille and the Tahm Kench, not the duo to take down Faker. If that was Infinity Edge on Faker, that was a double kill. So maybe not that time, KT Rolster. Adjust your play. SKT pull back. But SKT need to find a control ward line. If we have one thing to point out, it's that KT's control wards are plentiful, and they give them Baron control. SKT have lost control in this area, so a lot of safe pushing happening from KT. They do that a lot more reliably than SKT, who you mentioned in Champ Select. It's a single range champion. It's a team that can't siege. All they can do is team fight. And if you do not have map control, you're not snowballing, so you can just start an objective and say, hey guys, come to us. SKT will struggle to get the maximum value, show to Faker, hitting the side lane, and pulling off a super play.
Well, we have a decently close game here, and once again, SKT going to try to make a move towards this Baron.
I believe they were spotted on the ward, but for now at least, KT not reacting, so let's assume they're not. This could just be a duo Baron for SKT.
I mean, they see the Pike Morgana on the mid side. They're putting movement pings into the mid lane.
They have
no idea. This is going to be snuck away here. Finally, the first assistance ping in the river. No, that was really close. Ezreal trying to check it, but Blank is this time on top of his smite.
Man, that was so close to being a steal, but a great play from SKT. They come in. Because the first time they started, there was no reason for KT to know that they tried a 20-minute Baron on spawn. They didn't have any wards, and they weren't off the map for long enough. They actually, like I mentioned, get the double dip. They put their hands back in the cookie jar and say, well, you guys didn't know before, maybe you don't know now. The team of KT do not, and SKT steal a Baron under the nose of KT.
That's huge. Gives them a nice bit of gold here, the stats to try to fight in the next one. We talked about how you basically have to all in if you're going to go for a team fight here for SKT. And now they can begin pushing and trying to gain control of this gold lead here. They should easily have this mid turret.
Now you have the bigger confidence with a poor sieging team to actually make things happen as Faker's got some items, and here comes the TP.
They're trying to trap him.
Who's
Look at this.
with who?
It's 5 members of SKT up in the top side trying to get out to Mata. Is going to miss the Sejuani ultimate, and Deft and Score are on the run.
If it can still set up the last breath.
Oh, it's not going to land it here. He's going to get the stun onto Deft, but he does have the QSS. Still on the chase here with the Ignite. Once that knockup is going to flash it this time. Mata was the obvious kill, but everybody else gets away.
Great escape means that SKT can't just barrel down mid lane and take all the objectives, but KT Rolster thought they were making a flank, but flanking against Baron against double TP being up, not necessarily a smart move. SKT keeping it simple, gonna roll down the mid lane. And for now, with the Baron buff, Zoe can't answer these minions as cleanly as she would like.
She's only got the Ludens, Zhonyas too, so she's not going to be one-chunking people, especially against Windwall. It wasn't the perfect amount of kills here for SKT, but it's enough to make that Baron power play work for them. They finally gained control of the gold lead in this game.
And KT are going to have to play a similar game they did last time out when they took down Gen G, when they were running the funnel strategy with Ruler in the mid lane. And that's creating map pressure in the side lanes. Look at the item lead for the Aatrox over the Darius. It is night and day. Aatrox will outscale naturally and has a huge item lead. When I watch the replay, Deft makes the great escape. The sidestep on the Bone Skewer, the big reason that he was to live. We saw this on the kill field. You know exactly what happened. The Yamato just straight up died. But the side lanes are where KT will find benefit. As long as they're not in the same lane as the Yasuo, rotating around the Darius is the best way to actually answer SKT right now. SKT's Baron, about another minute. But SKT are going to try and group and force. That's what they do best.
Yeah, no way to come up here onto this outer turret, of course, in the bottom side. Means that a bunch more gold will go over to SKT, and they may look for that all-in team fight finally down in the bottom side.
They have a disgusting amount of pick, and Blank can tank up a turret, so nowhere is safe if you're KT.
Ooh, UCal, gotta be careful. Don't want to be portal jumping over the wall that you have no vision of. Take a sword to the face from Faker. So UCal still struggling to really get any damage done. It's not just the wind wall, it's the black shield. It's the tank that they have in the front with the Sejuani. They actually do have that on their team. And, well, that will be another turret that will be awarded over to SKT. They're now about 1,000 gold ahead. And Faker still very fed and has a lot of other guys to help him out.
This is definitely the Faker show. They've drafted for it with the Morgana in the carry position for Bang. They've played to it. This game completely was warped by one play. I should say two plays, but two plays around the Baron, the successful one, the big takeaway. Taking down the Baron got them sieges. It could never happen given the safe wave clear of Zoe and Ezreal. They also had an Aatrox in a unlosable position against the Darius 1v1. Everything was set up for KT to close this game, and SKT being dogged around the Baron, making the right read that KT didn't know about the first one and wouldn't react to the second, has got SKT to a point where now KT chooses the wrong fight. A classic KT trope. SKT, and Faker in particular, can roll through them.
Yeah, picks up his GA. He's about 3,000 gold ahead of UCal right now, even though it may not look it on the information we have on the bottom side. Trying to engage here on a Faker, though. He is going to try to go in and kill Score. Can he do it? That's the question. No, the stopwatch keeps him alive. The GA is going to be popped, and here comes Effort. Can he help him out? Faker trying to pull off a miracle, is not able to do it 1v4.
And the rest of the team of SKT mills around the mid lane. They see Effort, but they don't know exactly where the rest of SKT is, and they back away. It's exactly as Inferno spawns, and should be mentioned the Score is already very low on health.
And at this point, 4v5. Even though Score is low, he is still a person. Means that the third Infernal Drake of the game goes to KT.
And that's kind of the thing that KT diagnosed. We said play the side lanes well. That either involves 1-3-1ing and keeping down the Darius, or just dogpiling on Faker, who, through GA, will die throughout the course of this. What happens when you send enough people. Score might have made a one-way trip, but he knew the ultimatum and his friends would be enough to eventually take down Faker. And you look at SKT, and if you're able to send 4 members bot lane and not get anything out of it on the rest of the map, then it's just the right move for KT, and a sign that for SKT, it's group with Faker or lose.
And they may just want to wait for this Baron that's coming up. That'll be the perfect objective to just try to gain control with this small gold lead you have and try to force and bait KT into the river and into a fight. Now, if they could poke him down with, you know, the Ezreal, the Zoe before the fight starts, that would be ideal here for KT. Follow that up with Camille and Aatrox into the back line. That may work out for you, but really is going to come down to execution, as this is a very close game here as we near 30 minutes.
And you just know exactly who to look at in every team fight. Look at Faker. He is the one. If he kills, they win. If he dies, they lose. Everything they have on the team is about him. Darius is so far behind that him having 2 items for his side pushing doesn't matter. It's all about things like the Zeke's, the Knight's Vow, the shield from the Morgana. It needs to be about a Faker team fight. But the reason why that's something you really need to think about is the other side is, if it's not a Faker team fight, any other game state suits KT. If it's Siege, KT. If it's Split Push, KT. Really only SKT team fight is their way to win. But they took the last Baron. They have control now over the Baron area. And maybe SKT can get the team fight that, if well executed, gets them a second Baron.
It'll be all about vision control here and picking, and look at the respect from Mata. He knows he does not want to be baited into a team fight. Flashes the binding from Morgana. And what that gives them is the push in the mid lane, and it gives them control over the river now for UCal and Def to start poking.
Arya starts walking up. Agree, it's a nice pickup. Effort poked out, but not going to be too relevant. Seeing Faker. Went well there, was creative, let's say.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, so no engage will happen, no effective poke as Effort is healing up here. Once again, UCal still looking for that pick, but Black Shield this time on a faker. He's looking for the engage. He's looking for the forced team fight, 5v5 here. This is SKT's arena.
Exactly, and the warding around it cements that fact, Valdez. They actually have vision of brush that for now KT would lose autos trying to chase people into. You mentioned earlier the gold lead for Faker. It's even bigger than whatever the number reads because UCal's itemization is pretty substandard. He went very early Zonias. He finally has Illudens, but certainly isn't a patch on the Zoes we've seen earlier this season. So because of that, KT have to be so careful. Even walking up like this is so risky.
Oh boy, Smeb going forward. The binding is going to miss. And he does Dark Flight to safety in the end, but can it happen again? They get the knock up onto him. The stopwatch is going to save him right before he does go down, but they get the effective pick. And now it's 5v4 in favor of SKT.
Just too risky from the captain of KT. Doesn't have Mata there to devour. Mata's being a lot more safe with his positioning because he used his flash earlier. They don't control that area. Well played SKT. They're going to close to get their fight, and they're chasing this Zoe.
Once the knockup, so close. So close. He gets the knockup. Perhaps he can make something happen, but
it's time for Baron. They have great Baron turn. They have Sejuani to tank it up. This needs to be the play. They fight best when the enemy comes to them. Baron's the right place to make that happen.
True Shot Barrage is going to be used on the team just to chunk them out before the fight even happens.
Spends 15 seconds.
Okay, they're going to get the stun here on Amada, but he does have the QSS. Blank getting low. The Trouble Bubble is going to land, and he's getting so low. Oh, Blank is going to survive in the end, but it's way too close for comfort. And that does mean that SKT will actually back off of the Baron.
Aatrox spawns now and can TP over.
Oh boy, this is really unfortunate now for SKT. Blank has to recall and go back into the base, but he's not going to actually. He's going to stick around. The TP's coming in, double TP. In fact, and Blank is so low, can he get the steal? Effort looking for the engage. Who's going to get it? The smite not coming in. They get the kill onto Zoe, and no smite is going to go down, but it's 3 kills over to the side of SKT. Baron does go over to the Aatrox, but he will go down in the end, and SKT win the big team fight, will kill Smeb, and that is a 4-for-1 in favor of SKT.
Excellent execution on the engage. They don't get the Baron. That's the only thing that doesn't go their way, but the team fighters are out. Tal had flash up, AoE apprehend into last breath, ruined the team, and now SKT, they're going to try and push for the win, even though it's 3v1.
We got 20 seconds here on a couple of very crucial members of KT. I'm not sure that they can end this here. Low are Faker and Tal, and with the Baron buff, it will push the minions back, and so that does mean that after all of that, they get a bunch of gold, but it means that this game continues.
And the Baron was a crapshoot. It went to the Aatrox of all people. If it goes to SKT, the game might end, Valdez. You saw the value of depth in the mid lane, being able to push up because of the Baron buff minions. Let's watch the replay. There was so much creeping doubt when KT started the Baron because they weren't that healthy. We're going to watch the replay. You see why Mata used the flash the first time. He knew he needed the QSS to tank something in a team fight. They're able to force SKT to go back. The teleports are up. The Baron's speed is not massive. And watch the apprehend into the last breath. They have multiple ways to set up the last breath. And that's where for KT fans, they know they made a mistake. Huge last breath. The Darius and Faker on the Yasuo had to be respected. Still, let's watch the last auto here. Blank, as he died, smited because he knew he wouldn't live long enough. So if all people went to Aatrox, and the only thing SKT really gets is the gold and also the Drake.
Yeah. Follow-up kill there on Faker. It's kind of funny. It does blow his GA, actually, which will be very important in these upcoming fights. So a nice little mechanical outplay there by Deft to follow up and try to salvage that rough situation. Let's take a look at the damage. Both of the junglers, their eyes were on the Baron. They couldn't do much.
That was the one time the Pyke audio bug was great because as the damage numbers popped up, it's like, look at this. And it's like, well, that's a lot of damage from the Ezreal, Morgana, Tormented Soil. People are chilling on this Tormented Soil and remembering that it actually does quite a lot of damage when you're in full ability power.
He picks up the Rylai's too. Help out with some of the team fighting and landing some of that pick that they do have. Or might be looking at a Death Cap next. Or perhaps even a Spellbinder if he wants to do more aggressive engaging. But It's kind of funny the way that it went after the Baron fight happened. All those kills over to SKT means that the bottom turret gets low. The inhibitor turret there for KT, but actually with the Baron buff, Deft himself is able to push in the bottom lane.
SKT looking for a chase, Score just shadowing Faker. They know it's 2v2 at the moment, but it's much more than that.
Oh boy, the big knock up here, trying to dodge it there, and Pike is able to come on in. 2 kills over to Faker, make that 3! Actually, as Bang is able to pick up that 3rd one. Now here comes Effort, finally gets the nice engage, and a triple kill to Faker. That will be 4 for 0. To the side of SKT, and maybe now they can try to push.
They're definitely going to try and push and maybe even end the game, but it's big mistake from the side of KT. Why are they walking into melee range of a free farm Yasuo? Really bad decision, and now Deft, eventually you'd have to think will go down.
He's trying to kite 3 members. He almost takes down Blank, but the stun comes down, and Deft will go down. Make that a 4th kill for the Yasuo in the mid lane, and finally Faker able to carry his team, and it looks like SKT may have done it.
Full zoom onto Faker. He was the man that SKT set up around. This Telecom war is going 3 games.
Looks like it, Papa. 1 second, 2 seconds here left on the Camille, but with 4 or 5 members in the mid side, they get the knock up on Amada. They're trying to take him down too. He will. And the last of the turrets will as well. Just desperation at this point. As Legendary goes Faker, and down will go the Nexus. We're going to game number 3.
KT Rolster don't read the enemy team comp like they need to. Avoid the full commitments onto the Yasuo. In the side lane, 4v1, sure. But they see 2 members, they don't assume a stealth Pike and more friends topside, and one by one the dominoes fell to the sword of Yasuo. This was definitely a hard carry performance from Faker. Bang on the Morgana, picks up a victory, ended up just being utility and a bit of poke in team fights, but we all know who deserves the MVP from this one. SKT, they stick the team fights, they win the game, and now we get that 3rd game, which could go either way.
It really could. You know, you talked about it before. KT, they're not the most solid team in the mid to late game. Mistakes do come in to bite them at the worst possible time to essentially give the game over to SKT, who they finally executed really well. It looks like a team towards the end of this game. Let's see how this fight goes down in their vision, especially.
So they see 2 members and they think we're golden, but Darius' bot lane, doesn't matter that he's not there. You're opting into Faker at one of the biggest item timings. Remember that Blank has only items to buff Faker. He has the Knight's Vow, and he also has the Zeke's Convergence, and you're just dogpiling onto a Yasuo who is God when you come to him.
Effort, after a weak performance in game number 1, he comes back and he performs on the Pike when he needs to most. He's not able to steal the Baron away from the Aatrox in that crazy Baron fight that probably would have ended the game right there, but either way, he had a lot of fantastic engages on the Pike. I think he deserves to be rewarded, at least, for that.
And we're rewarded with a 3rd game. No complaints from me. Love to see some more League of Legends between these 2 teams. Like I mentioned at the opening of the broadcast, easy to say KT's the favorite, but on the day, in the Telecom war with SKT showing something at the end of last week, there was always that doubt. It can just be the big, let's get up and beat down KT Rolster performance from SKT, and this is the first step.
So guys, we are going to take another 10-minute break. When we come back, the conclusion of the series, Game 3, SKT versus KT.